we have a whole bunch of people who are in the business, a lot of them in the real estate space, many of them doing well, but it has been a tough go, okay? And it's not really covered. You know, the real estate business is covered based on the value of the market, the average price, and how it's doing for the consumer. The real estate industry is like the redheaded stepchild. And people don't really care how real estate agents are doing. In fact, the perspective the market has of real estate agents is they do nothing, get paid a fortune, and so on and so forth. The average realtor in the United States this year will make $42,000 gross commissions, and before expenses. Okay. Now, thankfully, our average client, and we got 20,000, is in the 400s. But even then, it's a good living, but it's hard work. What would your encouragement be as an entrepreneur and a guy who loves real estate to people who are working hard? This has been we got jacked up with all this free money, all this low interest rates. We had an artificially created bubble in real estate, and now it's kind of stuck there. We have an affordability problem. And a lot of our agents they fought through it. 1 out of every 7 transactions falls out. 1 out of every 9 listings comes off the market. And so they're kind of swimming against the tide. What's your advice for people in a time like this that are swimming against the tide?
Well, obviously, the key that you mentioned in that list of litany, if you want to call it that, was the fact that rates made such a big move. There's no question about it. There's so many homes that are still sitting with 3.7, 3.8% mortgages that another 2.5 years before, and they're not going to sell them because they're going to step into a 7% mortgage or 6.5%, whatever they can get. So that's one fact of illiquidity. But, you know, what I've learned about real estate, and I've been playing it for a long time like you have, let's take a woman like Barbara Corcoran. You know, I work with her on Shark Tank, and the only reason she gets anywhere is I buy her a new broom every year. Everybody should. She's a very, very smart woman in real estate. And she learned a long time ago that it's about personal relationships and trust. If you look at her success, she wanted her agents, as she built her franchise out, to communicate with people transparently and honestly and tell them their honest opinion, not just be selling all the time. Help them make decisions between one property and another. Yeah. You gain that trust, you build a lot of franchise value with that. And the other thing that she got early on was social media. Wow, did she get that joke? Yeah. And that's getting out her personal brand on every single platform that was available when she was coming up the feeding chain. And today, when she talks about real estate, you know, she's a legend. Everybody knows her. She's a fixture in New York. But she uses social media like crazy. And I tell every agent I meet, I'm going to check you out on LinkedIn before I even meet you. I'm going to go online and see what people are saying about you. I mean, why wouldn't I do that? It's free information. It takes me 2 seconds. So you really got to care about what your online presence is like and what you're talking about in your local market. And of course, as you well know, real estate is local, local, local. You build a reputation, people come to you. Your customer acquisition cost goes to 0. They want you because others say you're good.
Right. You're a fan of the referral system, you know, which was a big way to do business in Malahide, by the way, just so you know, right? And my grandfather's painting business was right there in Harold's Cross. And in the early days, and we're 5th generation painters, you had to actually write him a note or knock on his door to say you were interested in working with him. He had so many satisfied customers. And so his principle was every day when you were a kid, we all worked in the family business, he'd ask you, can you put your name to that? And if you hadn't put your name to the work you did, you had to do it over. And the goal was to do the work in such a way we were doing higher quality work than the customers expected. Like we're doing paint jobs in Dublin, imagine this. And at the end of the paint job, we're changing the light bulbs and washing the windows to showcase the paint job even better. And he would get referrals. And you get for 5 generations, they never spent a single nickel on advertising. Now,
well, that's it. This guy knew what he was doing. That's exactly you got to be the modern day equivalent of that guy. He did it right.
Harry Buffini. And again, today he'd be using social media too to showcase the paint jobs, to showcase the customers. And I love Barbara, by the way. She's remarkable. I love her because she's very common sense about real estate. She really knows her stuff. And she knows this principle, that no one has ever come up to her or me in their entire life and said, I'm glad I waited. You know? I'm really glad I didn't buy that property 10 years ago. You know what I mean? That just doesn't happen. You have to bite the bullet, pay the price, and over time you're going to win. Let me say this. From an entrepreneurial standpoint, you're kind of an entrepreneur's entrepreneur. You're looking at all kinds of deals. I was hoping you were going to pull off the TikTok deal there. I would have felt better about my kids.
Well, nobody's got TikTok,
Yeah.
and the deal's gone sideways again because of the China wars.
I know. But I would say this, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, what would you say are like the no matter what's for an entrepreneur? If you're talking to these, you're seeing on Shark Tank, you're seeing all these people come to you advice all the time. If you were to give like 2 or 3, like no matter what's, if you're going to win as an entrepreneur, what would those be?
There's the most important thing. I actually learned this from Steve Jobs when I worked for him back in 1990. Every day, every 18-hour day you're awake, there's 3 things you got to get done. There are always 3 things. And that's called the signal, and you got to get the 3 things done. Everything that stops you from getting the 3 things done is the noise. And the ratio between signal and noise has to be 80%. 80% of your time has to be getting the 3 things done. 20% is the noise that you're wasting your time on. You do that, I don't care what kind of a business you're running, you'll be wildly successful. Most people can't do it. They can't stay focused, and they, worse, can't discern what's noise and what's signal. You have to be able to understand what matters every day. This is not big vision stuff. This is the next 18 hours.
Yeah.
And you keep doing it every single day. And same thing with real estate. There are 3 things every agent has to get done every day. I don't care, where you are, at minimum of 3 things. That's the signal. You got to do it.
And, in our world, it's number 1, you got to focus on lead generation, because we say the more leads you have, the more choice you have, because you can end up with quality. And everybody wants to work with quality people, but it's like if you generate 10 leads in a year, the chances of them being 10 super quality people is unbelievably low. And so what happens? Agents fill up their time with the administrative stuff, the surfing online, to doing the emails, all of the as you say, the noise. And our business, what we spend all our time doing is coaching people to do, number 1, focus on your lead generation. Number 2, focus on your relationships. And then number 3, manage your business like a business person. And again, I'm 30 years at this, John, and thank God if people got it, I'd probably be back painting bridges myself. But it's hard. It's just hard because it seems like, and in the world we live in today, it's just such a distraction world. Like it's an ADD world. You can spend all day surfing social media and not get out and done and feel like you did do something. So how have you stayed so focused for so long?
Because I actually do what you're saying. I mean, the things, I have a very large portfolio of companies, and in every single day there's the euphoria of some great thing happening in one of them. And this is actually happened just an hour ago, and somebody else calls me up and says, I'm going to go bankrupt, I'm running out of cash. I mean, this happens every single day. And I've learned to control my emotions, knowing that in an hour something else is going to happen, good or bad. So you're always dealing with the stuff that's coming at you, and you have to pick which ones you're going to react to. In real estate, there's no question about it. You might generate 10 leads, of which maybe 3 are just gold and the rest are crap. And so in the context of what you said there, you've got to determine how fast can you determine what the crap is, because you can burn all your time and waste it pursuing something of no value. That's the idea of picking out the signal and saying those 3 leads are the ones I'm going to put my energy into. And even if 1 or 2 of them work out, that's going to be, a fantastic outcome for me.